Hey guys, this is Trev from Simplr Health. Welcome back. Long time no see. Today with me, I've got a recent client of Simplr Health, Stephen Donley. Welcome, Stephen.
How are you, mate?
I'm good. It's going to be great because I'm talking to Dean. I know we've got a bit in common with, I know you race karts, and we just spoke earlier about you racing bikes and speedway and stuff before. So I feel like I sort of know you already. Fill me in on what it's been like, or what had you come to Simplr Health to start with? What was going on?
What was that? So why did I go there? Or
Yeah.
Look, I guess for the last, like, I'm 68 now, but I don't like telling everyone. But I guess that I've always, when about 35 years ago I started running, I had a mate that ran around Australia and he taught me how to run. I never run before in my life when I was about 35.
Right.
And so ever since then I've run about 10 Ks a day, between 8 and 10 Ks every day, just to keep my fitness up. But plus, because of go-karts and because you're racing young fellas, you've got to be fit. So I had to keep my aerobic fitness up. So I started running and I started dieting, and I was around, at one stage there, would have been around 94, 95 kilos.
Yep.
And then I went on a series of diets, like from Shore Slim to Jenny Craig and so on, and I've got down to 64 kilos, but over a period of 30 years. So it hasn't happened overnight.
Yeah.
But, watching diet, trying to keep fit. And every time I went to the doctors, they'd always say that my bad cholesterol was good, but my good cholesterol was still high. I would never understand that. I'd never put a figure to that and whatever. And then every year, now that I've turned over 60, to race go-karts, you've got to get your license. You've got to get a doctor to sign for your license every year. You've got to do a medical.
Right.
And last year, because of COVID, I changed doctors. And when I went there, they wouldn't sign my license. They said, no, you've got to get blood tests and all that. So what happened was I went and had a blood test and had an argument with the doctor. She said, you got high blood pressure. I said, never had high blood pressure in my life. And we had a big blue. And she said, you got to go for that's another argument, but you got to go for a blood test. So I did. And come out that my blood pressure was good. Cholesterol was around 5.6. So 5.5, 5.6, which is relatively high. Anyway, I thought, well, I'm a know-it-all. I know what I'm doing. So then over Christmas, I kept up my running exercise, but it didn't matter how much I ran. If I ran 10 Ks, 15 Ks, I didn't lose any weight. And I wasn't losing it. I was skinny on the outside, but fat on the inside, as they say. And it was affecting my fitness, and my age was catching up with me. But before I could run 10 Ks without a problem, at Christmas time, I was flat out running 7 Ks, and even then I had to stop, which I wasn't happy about. So I went on my own stupid diet, and then when I come back after Christmas, I went back to the doctor and went, give me another blood test. And she did. And it went up to 5.9. And they said, you get any higher, we're going to have to put you on medication.
Right.
And I thought, well, what am I going to do here? It's out of control. And I'd had a personal trainer at the gym for 12 months. That wasn't working. Everything I did throughout it, I wasn't losing the weight that I wanted to lose, to get down to 64 again.
Yep.
So then I went to a go-kart shop and I was talking to a gentleman. He said, here's a group of people, but try this Dean. So I did, which was Simplr Health.
Right, okay.
When I went to Dean, the first interview, sat down, looked at him, I could see what he was actually saying. He explained everything so relatively easy. He put it in plain language and not in those scientific ways or whatever they do. And I said, all right, you got me on board. And over that time I went from 72 kilos, which down to 61.5 kilos in a matter of about 8 weeks. Yeah,
right.
I went back for a blood test and my cholesterol went from 5.9 down to 3.5. And now I can run 15 Ks and don't even get a lose breath. I can just keep going.
It's pretty cool.
So it speaks for itself.
Yeah. And what impact did it have on your go-kart racing?
Oh, go-kart racing.
Can you do me a favour
Um,
before we go any further? Can you just drop your camera down a bit
okay.
so I can see your foot? Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Go-kart racing changed completely. Where with go-kart racing, like Formula One, even though people mightn't understand it, but you're doing high speeds, and it's a lot of changing of the karts, getting the kart to handle properly, getting the tyres to work properly, tyre pressures, motor. There's that much stuff going on. It's not funny. So there's a race up at Coffs Harbour, and it's the only race I feel that I haven't won.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the over 40s, and
Yep.
it's a national. You end up a national champ, and I've been after it. So this year I went up, and completely different fitness-wise, and I can sit in the go-kart, and instead of the go-kart, I can drive the go-kart, but I can actually feel each corner what it's doing. So when I come back in off the track, I can download what's in my brain, but I know what the kart's doing, and then I can set the kart up to go faster. As far as things happening so quick, and the nerves, no nerves, very confident. Even at one stage, I had a horrific big smash, like I'm talking over 100 kilometres an hour, but a big crash. Went through the fence backwards, pulled the cart out, we fixed it, and I was straight back out into the race and still come home in a position. So, and tore me 2 shoulders in the process, but completely changed my whole view of racing, how I go about racing, mental-wise. The job I do is really straining. None of that. I can sit, think, and come up 90% of the time with the correct answer. So do I put that down to the diet?
Or was that part of the coaching stuff side of it as well, or was it all just the diet?
The diet gives you confidence, but doing with the coaching side of it every week gets inside your head, and as you would know, and his way of listening to what you're saying, then putting it in a medical way and coming back, and then putting it out there, giving you confidence in the way you think, is second to none. So definitely doing coaching, but also the diet gives you that confidence. Once you start on for me, once I started on the diet, I could see I was losing in the vicinity of 1.5 to 2 Ks a week.
Yep.
And talking to Dean, he was so confident, then he could get in your head, and the rest is history.
So what other differences it made just in general life? I mean, how old did you say you are now?
68 with metabolic 68 with a metabolic age of 52.
Yeah, wow. And what difference is that going to make, like going on into your later years now compared to what you would have been dealing with beforehand?
Well, I should imagine longevity. Certainly makes you think a lot clearer. You're more calmer when you think. You're not jumping. You're not making a decision on spur of the moment. Like, even though it comes to you quick, you can make the decision, and 90% of the time it's correct. So you've got more confidence in life.
Yeah.
And the job that I do, which is another part of my life, whatever, it's really hectic. So it plays a role all across, where you don't feel pressure, you don't feel the anxiety.
Yeah.
You're just calm.
And were you feeling that beforehand?
No, not all the time. If you go into a race, you're very nervous. Even though, I've been doing it 20 years, as you know about racing, if you don't have the butterflies, you know that you feel, you're not going to go any good because you've already detuned yourself before you go out. But now it's a different type of thing. You're confident. So you go out and hit all your marks. Your marks you've got to hit. You hit them, and you're going to do it because your fitness. When you get to my age, I'm racing 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds, or whatever. Yeah. When you hit my age, you're keeping with them and beating them.
Yeah.
So and they're amazed. They come in and go. You hear the fathers come in and say the fathers would be on the shore in the pits, and they go, "What are you doing letting that old fart beat you?" Like, Jesus Christ. What? Yeah. The only negative side to it is I've had to go and buy all new race suits and that because I've lost that much weight. And one of the biggest things, I always had weight around the stomach and around the back.
Right.
So I was skinny, but I always carried that weight in the girth. With Dean, he took that off me and never changed my muscle mass. So it was a amount of balance in your life, and what he did was second to none. I've been trying for 30 odd years and wasn't successful. He did it in 6 weeks.
That's great, because a lot of people would get caught up with, I just wasted 25 years. I could have just done this, and you're just wrapped about, nah.
If I would have known he existed back then, most probably wouldn't have been flat out born. I don't know, but if I would have known then no doubt, second to none.
Yeah, great. And about your shoulders, I was talking to him before, and he mentioned something about you. He was trying to sort something out for your shoulders along the way, and it hasn't worked out. And you're going to need surgery on your shoulders or something.
Yeah, I had about 4 years ago. I was in a race, and I'd been doing a lot of push-ups.
Yeah,
like an idiot, and I inflamed the right-hand side, and I went out to a race in a go-kart, and I was actually leading the race and went into first corner, and I snapped a tendon off the bicep on my right arm.
Wouldn't it tickle?
And it didn't tickle. No, it didn't tickle. I can tell you. And then it took about, I went to a specialist, and they said, look, you've snapped it. It can't go any further. The tendon snapped. You can't do any more damage to it. So I persevered with it, and that was after MRIs or whatever, and a lot of physio. Then it calmed down. So about February last year, I decided I'll get a personal trainer. That'll get this weight off me and all that sort of stuff. So I got a personal trainer. Well, with COVID, we were training in the park. So we're using all different types of methods to do it. And I did my left-sided. So I tore the tendon into that. So talking to Dean, and Dean sent me over, and I got some, I think it's PRP, where they put the plasma in.
Yep.
And that helped a little bit. I must admit that did help. And then I went to coughs. And of course, in the accident, when I went into the fence backwards at about 100 kilometres an hour, well, I forgot that force and banged both went. So I then went to physio, where they use a laser, but and that was started about 8-9 weeks ago, and I weren't getting anywhere.
Right.
So and the pain was intense, both shoulders, no sleep, whatever. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor got any painkillers, and they won't give me painkillers. They just won't do that. I said, no, you need a scan. So I went and had a scan, and then they could see the tear in the left-hand side, and they could see the tear in the right-hand side, and they said, we better go to a specialist, which I have, and I'm booked in Tuesday to get the right shoulder done. Right. And then hopefully he reckons 3 months, but I hope 6 weeks, it'll be the left shoulder done. So,
right, okay. And how do you think your recovery will be now after doing what you've done with Dean versus what it would have been like beforehand? Any difference you can see? Or
I think I'm hoping, and this is only a guess, I'm hoping that I will heal a lot quicker, because he's got my body to the area where it is, to the level that it's at. And the diet that he's got me on, the food that he's got me on, you're not carrying any fat, and the vitamins and the supplements that he puts you on for quick recovery, I should imagine, I'm hoping that I do get a quick recovery out of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't. You're in tip-top physical shape. You're giving yourself the best opportunity for that to happen. So it's really good. How did you find the educational side of what you were doing as well? Did Dean do any educational side of stuff with you about what you were eating and why and all that sort of thing? Yeah,
he takes you all through that. He sets a diet, takes you all through the reasons why, things that you shouldn't be eating. You know, like I'll give you an example. I was eating a lot of fruit.
Right.
Okay. But thinking, well, I'm not getting rid of this weight. Yeah. You're not getting rid of the weight because you're putting sugar in your mouth, even though it's a different type of sugar. So that's one thing that he did teach me. Yeah. So all the stuff that we went through with the food, how to clear the body out, what the body was actually doing, how it was doing it, what it was doing. It was second to none. He explained, Matter of fact, I could take some customers on, I think, but I wouldn't do it. But you know, he was good how he just explained everything. And whatever he did, he put it then and explained it on the board every week.
Yeah, right.
Because I couldn't see the sense in meeting him every week at the start.
Yeah.
Then you could see. Now I miss it, of course. I've gone out the other side of it. But yeah.
And how are you going now with that? How are you going looking after yourself and maintaining that? How long did it? Because I know a lot of the clients, you know, we're sort of changing it a little bit as they come out the other side and they're in the maintenance phase. Initially, it was going to be a 12-month type setup where, you know, we monitor you along the way and over that 12 months. But we decided, you know, really we want to set people up to look after themselves as quickly as possible. And it was generally from when I did the protocol as well last year, and a couple of other people who were coaching, it's generally taking about 2 to 3 months for people to be in the world of they can eat whatever they like, because they're not in that world when they first start the protocol. You're like, diet, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't eat this. But when you come out the other side, you're back to, I can eat whatever I want, which is how you were when you came in. So, you know, we've generally found it takes about 3 months for people to sort that out and be able to maintain it on their own. And then there you go, you're on your own. So how are you doing with that?
Yeah. Look, I guess I'm a little bit blessed in one way, but I'm different than, say, your average Joe Blow, I guess, right? Because over the years, I was 90-something kilos.
Yeah.
So I've shredded 30-odd kilos by going to, say, places like Jenny Craig or Short Slim, places like that.
Yeah.
So I've always watched, and that's taught me to watch my diet.
Mm-hmm.
So even after what we've done with Dean, I have broken out into the food, but now I know what I can eat and what I can't.
Yeah.
And now I know when to eat it, when not to eat it.
And what to eat together with
what to eat. But what he taught me, you know, what he taught me was in the morning, that's when you go for it. You know, lunchtime, ease it. Tea time, back it right off because you don't need it. Where logically you think the opposite way, that you're going to bed, you're going to need food to make it over the next morning and stuff like that. So that's what he's taught me. He's taught me how to balance that, which is what was needed, because in all those years, wasn't taught to me.
Yeah.
Now I know.
I think I learned a lot of things along the way about how the food industry as an industry drives the recommendations for what people should eat and shouldn't eat versus what's actually, you know, scientifically sound for your body.
When you have a look at what he does, you think this isn't what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Obviously it is.
It's hard to get your head around though, isn't it? When you've had it spoken to you for how many years, and all of a sudden someone's telling you something completely different, and you're like, but what?
in this house we don't have salt.
Right.
When you go to doing it, you've got salt. And my partner goes, you can't have salt. It's going to affect your cholesterol. It's going to do this, it's going to do that. But you go for the blood test and blow me down, everything's come down. And you have salt. How does it play?
How was your doctor about that?
Oh, look, it was a funny story. I'll just tell you what happened. When I went in to get my license signed, she said, I can't sign your license. She said, I don't, because I've been using a doctor in the city, I can't sign your license. I don't know you. I said, you know me, you've seen me in the city, because she was working anyway. She said, no. Anyway, she said, I don't even know your blood pressure. And then I got cranky and I said, well, what's that on the desk? She said, what? I said, what's that thing? And she said, take your blood pressure. I said, well, try using it. So by this time she's cranky, so she puts it on me. And then she rips it off me and she said, it's high. Yeah. And I said, that's crap, it's high, right? Right, but I guess it was high because I got cranky.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
She said, I want you to go next door and get a blood test, and then you to come back to the nurse and get the nurse to do the blood test again, right in there. So I went and done the blood test. Then I come back to the nurse, and this is in the room opposite her, and she said to me, "Oh, Mr. Stephen, what are you doing?" I said, "I've got to have a blood pressure." So she puts it on, and I'm sitting there watching, and she goes, I said, "How is it?" She said, "Perfect." And I said, "Stop the farm, stop." I said, "Get the doctor in." So she calls the doctor in, and the doctor comes in and said, "Yes, Stephen, what's the problem?" I said, "We've got a problem, doc." And she said, "What is it?" I said, well, either you don't know how to read that blood pressure machine or it's faulty. I said, because this one's good. So then that created Third World War as well. So, so then when my cholesterol was high where it was, after, say, it'd be 2 months, 2 and a bit months seeing Dean, I went and had a blood pressure, a blood test again, because I wanted to see myself, and Dean wanted to see where else we could look in my diet, what we need to do.
Mm.
When she put it on, I'm watching it on the screen and she's looking at it and she's flicking it, and then she said, I can't believe it. Right? I just cannot believe it. She said, how did you do it? And I explained to her. But there's one other thing that I will share.
Yeah.
And this is, I've got no evidence of this, but I can guarantee it. Because of my, like I said years ago, I've had a number of lives, race motorbikes, and I raced boats for 20 odd years.
Yeah, right.
And I'm a boiler maker and I did a lot of work outside. I then got a lot of skin cancers, big ones, like inside the ears, around the back of the neck, in the back. You know, I'm talking, I'd go in and they give me 20 stitches inside, internal, and 20 external to remove the skin cancers.
Wow.
And it got to a point that I had to go back every 3 months. So anyway, went on this diet. Last time I went there was in December. And he said, okay, we've got to go every 3 months or whatever. So anyway, no, February it was. So been taking all the supplements. My skin started to feel different. I could feel it smoother. I noticed on my arms was getting where I had all little, some blisters or whatever, they were getting smoother.
Yeah, right.
So went on everything that Dean told me to do. I went back about 5 weeks ago. He went from top to bottom and he said, I can't believe. He said, your skin's changed. Now, I've got no way of proving that it was the diet, but it's the only thing that I've changed from then to now.
Yeah,
and he said, every 8 months now, where it was 3 months, now we've extended it to 8 months.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really good, though.
I've got no way to say it was the diet or it's the everything that he does and puts you on. All I can say is that's the only thing that I've changed over, and I've been seeing that Macquarie Street specialist for 5 years.
Yeah, wow, that's sensational.
Yeah.
If that's anything you've changed, I mean, you'd have to talk to Dean about how that works, if that's the case.
No, I said to Dean about it, and he said, yeah, he wasn't shocked. He said I was prepared for it.
Yeah, wow.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, thanks very much for the chat. It was lovely to meet you, and it's good to see you still carrying on well and getting the benefits from the protocol. And I'm sure Dean thanks you for the trust you put in him. And
one other thing that I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. I've ran between 8 and 10 Ks every day. I get up at 5 and out I go, right?
Yep.
Come home, jump on the scale, do not lose one little bit. When I went on this diet with Dean, he said, no exercise. And I went, what do you mean? I said, you got to eat. No, this is a non-exercise diet. So after the second week, I went back to him and said, mate, I've got to run. I don't know if you've ever ran or whatever, but you get to the point that you got to do it every day. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
And he went, okay, we'll introduce it. But you remember it's a diet with no exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that should.
Something change in the performance of your running, or?
Now, well, I did. I'll tell you, dropping the weight. When I was running before I went, I would do, say, a 6-minute 30, 6-minute 35 kilometre, right, over 8 Ks. I could just keep on doing it, right? I'm down to 6-minute Ks now, over 10. So I picked up a half a second a kilometre, which doesn't sound much for an old bugger. It's pretty good. It's changed my running style, and I'm talking hills, big hills. You just keep on going. You don't run out of steam. So
excellent.
But anyone that I know can only strongly recommend it's the way to go.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, thanks for your time. I've learnt lots.
All right, mate. I hope
you
it
guys
was
got any
some use.
questions? Sorry?
I hope it was some use.
It was great use. Thanks. I'm sure people got a lot out of it. A lot of the clients and stuff, or people thinking about taking it on, watch these videos. So if you've got any questions about or for Stephen, just put them in the comment section below, or just reach out and send us an email at Simplr Health. Follow us on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. Dean and I are going to be back shortly with a Chewing the Fat, because we haven't done one in a long, long time. So we're going to get back on and talk about some of the new and exciting stuff we're coming up with, and what we're working with, and who we're working with, and all that sort of thing. So thanks again, Stephen. It's a pleasure chatting with you. You look after yourself.
Yeah, stay safe, and we'll certainly, I'll be in touch with Dean anyway.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, mate.
Okay.
See you guys.